T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff.
Welcome to Sport Weasel Central. I'm Lugs.
I'm J-Boy. Lugs, you're a little subdued there, man. I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
Yes, sir. That's where we are. Sports and other stuff. Okay, week 2 of the NFL, and maybe, just maybe, some teams are falling into place. In college football, break up the Hoosiers. Indiana rises to 3-0, while Northwestern loses to the Salukis. Hey, what the hell kind of name is a Saluki anyway? We'll talk about that, but let's get started. Surprises, favorite moments. Let's start with that man there. Lugs, what were your thoughts on the NFL this week? It was, again, the NFL knows how to produce a bloody football game.
Yeah, for week 2, I was amazed by 3 just crazy fourth quarter games that people came back. Tua, whom I've been nasty to, saying he can't throw, he can't stand, he can't walk, whatever. That was amazing. Kyler Murray, Arizona, that was amazing. That comeback on the Raiders. And the ancient mariner, Joe Flacco. I mean, Cleveland pulled just one of the stupidest things. It's like, Nick Chubb, don't run that thing in, run out the clock. And he gave them the opportunity, and they came back. So those were sort of my crazy highlights, and they're lowlights. But, Dog, what were your highlights?
I just want to build off of what you just said in terms of that Cleveland Jets game. The miraculous events that had to happen. It's not just Chubb decided to go in and score a touchdown. He scores a touchdown, and then their kicker, the rookie kicker, who made the game winner last week. So let's give him some, comfort in maybe botching this one. He misses the extra point. So they're only up by 13. Flacco then gets the ball, throws a huge dart to Corey Davis, gets them down only by, only by 6. And then they do an onside kick, which with how they've adjusted the rules is very hard to recover now. Sure. Not that it was ever easy, but they recover the ball. And then Garrett Wilson, the rookie, I believe the 10th overall pick from Ohio State, He has 2 big plays on that final drive, scores a touchdown. They actually kick the extra point. They win it. That should have never happened. And the crazy thing is Cleveland should be actually 0-2 because I think it was reviewed at the end of their game against Carolina week 1 that our guy Jacoby Brissett, he messed up. He did like a fake pump and then spike. That's illegal. That should have run off the clock. They shouldn't have been allowed to kick an extra point. So they should be 0-2. So if they get a bad taste in their mouth, they should just be like, you're 1-1. You should have won this game. You should have lost the last game. So cosmically, everything worked out.
Is that
anyway?
Yeah,
go J-Boy.
Is that penalty like the one where the Bears tried to drive off the field the week before and nobody knew it was a penalty? That run spike thing, or what's going on there?
Well, the funniest thing is with the Bears game, if we want to talk about that for an instant, that that was like taking a single bounty towel and putting it in the ocean. Like I don't know how much that would really adjust the field
like flushing
anyway.
a toilet, wouldn't it? I mean, come on. Wow, go ahead. Next.
I think my major highlight, I think it was the most exciting game of the day was the Ravens Dolphins. Yeah. You just want to talk about an exhibition. And like Luggs said, like Tua, to be fair to Luggs, for a half, Tua looked like the Tua that he thought he was. So, and I think he had like close to 150 yards and 2 interceptions in the first half. He had a touchdown. He had a touchdown to Waddle. But man, that fourth quarter, he threw 4 TD passes, and I give a lot of credit to their head coach. I know he's one of the new head coaches, but maybe currently he's in the lead for the best looking hire just because he designed the offense around what Tua does best. Tua is a point guard who just gets the ball out quick. And, again, people crapped on his arm because I came out of the same draft class as Herbert. Yeah, he doesn't have Herbert's arm. But, I mean, come on. Like, the first time any one of us saw Tua was that game against Georgia in the championship. He threw a complete bomb to Devontae Smith on a rope. So it's like his arm's maybe not like top tier, but it's still very, very good. And the combination of Hill and Waddle, I mean, just their speed is just going to stress teams out vertically, horizontally, and they're just going to gas them. Lamar, I mean, he lost, but Lamar, he's on his way to getting that big paycheck. He threw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. He then ran for over 100 yards. So he had 4 touchdowns total. And if you really think about it, the other thing that's really impressive about it too, their running game outside of him is bad. Like they have Kenyon Drake, they got Mike Davis, J.K. Dobbins isn't back. Gus Edwards is going to be, I think, way, way down the line before he can return. Like they just have no running game, and like he's doing it all by himself. And the last thing I just want to say about that game is, that second drive of the game was huge for the Ravens. They got it down to the goal line, and then on 4th down, they botched the snap. The Ravens tried to recover it, and they scooped it, and they just were trying to stop it from being a scoop and score by the Dolphins. The Dolphins then drive the length of the field and score that touchdown on the tunnel to Waddle. That was a 14-point swing. And you look at how close the end of the game was. Like that was one of the big drives that ended up costing the Ravens.
Yeah, it was an interesting week. I will say my low light, although I must not be supporting any quarterbacks here. Trey Lance, I hated to see what happened to him.
Yep.
That you don't want to see that. But now San Francisco, they look like they were a brain trust by keeping Jimmy G around. And Jimmy G came in and does what he does, which is just quietly win football games. But I was sad to see that happen to Trey Lance. I guess that would be my low light of the weekend.
I mean,
and
don't you think Jimmy G is where he belongs? I mean, this was all, I don't know. It just seems to set up. You're right. Lance may be done. We don't know. I mean, that's a whole season lost. And he's got to come back from that. That's a tough deal. We saw what happened to Dak when it happened to him. So do you think Jimmy G, I mean, this could be the perfect storm. Absolutely for them.
Well, if you want to look, you go, Lugs.
I was just going to say, you could see on the players' faces when they were showing the sideline when they brought Jimmy G in, you could see relief. You really could. I mean, I don't think that they thought bad of Trey Lance,
right?
But I think that Jimmy G is a cohesive force for them. So, yeah, he's not the greatest. We have to admit that. But those guys played for him. They didn't touch him. He actually ran for a touchdown. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think the fascinating thing to come out of this, because we've seen it multiple years from Jimmy G. Obviously, they went to a Super Bowl. They were a game away last year from going to the Super Bowl. We know, and it feels like roster-wise, this team is better. Maybe they haven't added a lot of new pieces, but just another year of experience and just also just team chemistry. This team has a really good chance to win 12 games and make a deep playoff run. If that happens, how do you let Jimmy Garoppolo go?
You can't.
That's one of those.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a gift to them this season. He truly is.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. What do you go from 24 million to 6? I mean,
Yeah,
there's
right.
incentives.
I mean,
I know it
come
could go up
on.
to 10 or 8 or whatever, but still, that's like.
Does he become a free agent next year, I think?
Yes. Yeah.
So-
They restructured. This is his last year's contract.
So if he can pull that off, what you're talking about, his stock will be supremely high.
Plus, he's recently
will pay
surgically
him.
repaired, so he's like a new
well,
man.
it was definitely a win-win for both sides, because clearly they didn't make that deal because they had a full training camp in a whole offseason. And not to say that they don't see promising parts to Trey Lance. They saw enough that they're like, we're in this window. We can't just, we can't go. And even going back to last year, he had 2 starts. He got nicked up and injured in both those starts. So even if it wasn't like play-wise, they knew durability-wise they needed someone. Again, I'm not hating on Nate Sudfeld. They're like, we can't just have Nate Sudfeld be our backup plan. So, Jimmy, and also if you look at it from Garoppolo, look at, they have Brandon Ayuk, they have Deebo Samuel, George Kittle eventually will play. I think, I don't know, but they have a very talented play caller in Kyle Shanahan. Like where else should he have gone? Where he would have been put in a situation, because he wants to exhibit his talents, and he probably knew there's a good chance that Trey Lance was going to get hurt. Like he just needs to exhibit his talent so that, like what we're talking about, when the year ends, he'll have a chance to make a decent paycheck.
Well, and what's really impressive to me is he didn't take any snaps after January. He was not worried. They basically said, you're over here. Trey Lance is our guy. So he didn't work out with any of the team.
Oh, and I doubt they would deny it. They thought he was going to be off the team. Like he was training by himself. Like he was sent to Siberia, essentially.
Yeah, he would be out with like one of the ball boys, throwing to a ball boy out on the field.
Like extra
while
trainers.
The team was inside.
Hey, kid, throw me the ball.
It was nuts. So,
okay,
so
go ahead.
That's impressive. To me, what that says is absolute maturity. Could you imagine if that were Baker Mayfield? That guy would be whining and crying. Jimmy G, he just very quietly went about his business. Impressive.
By the way, is Baker wearing the thing from Mr. Miyagi, the
headband?
Headband. Is he wearing that? I haven't caught a cutaway yet.
I think the way he's played, I don't think he can bust that out. Yeah, I think he needs to keep that in his sock drawer.
Yeah,
so.
he needs to keep a low profile completely, man.
He wears a hoodie, goes into McDonald's. Yeah.
Speaking of low lights, but we'll talk about the highlight on the other end. It's like a lot of games. There are some games where it's just completely low lights. The Ravens Dolphins game had highlights on both ends, but here's one where highlight, low light. Colts Jags. I mean, this Colts team.
What is happening?
I mean, they are 0-1-1.
We own
and
you.
We own
you.
You know who they have? You know who they have week 3?
No, I don't actually.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, Lugs?
What do you mean, team or quarterback?
Yeah, you know who they're playing week 3?
I've forgotten. I knew.
The Colts are playing the Chiefs, so
I was going to say Kansas City.
They're going to be 0-2-1. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're going to be 0-2-1.
I believe that's not out on the limb. That's hugging the tree right there.
Yeah. It's I like Frank Wright, and I think he's a good coach. I just don't understand their strategy. Like the Jaguars didn't score the touchdown, the third touchdown, till like at the end of the third quarter. So it was always relatively 2 to low 3-score game, like 17 points. Jonathan Taylor, who possibly is the best running back in the league, he had 9 carries, and 2 of them came after they were down 24-0. It's like
I was questioning that myself. It was like, what are you doing? You got this all-star back. Yeah.
And then Nyheim Hines, who's a good receiver out of the backfield, he had 5 targets. And again, he should have acted as a receiver because I get they were not in a good situation. Pittman was out, their best wide receiver. Even their rookie, who was essentially their second starter receiver, Alex Pierce, he was out with a concussion. So they had a bunch of, backups and hanger-ons in there. And they decided to try to throw the ball. They didn't decide to run it. Like, again, I'm not going to say you're going to win, but like at least Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines give you a chance to win. And also you shorten the game. And you protect them from the pass rush. I mean, Jags D-line is legit. I mean, you have Josh Allen, or Roy Robert Harrison, Trayvon Walker, the first overall